Для меня, если я буду, например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалины, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалина.
Khabib Nurmagomedov has dropped a bombshell, calling Jack Della Maddalena Islam Makachev's worst nightmare at welterweight. Adding to that, Khabib Nurmagomedov made a comparison stating that if Islam had to fight both JDM and Ilia Topuria, he would be more concerned to prepare for Jack than Ilia. According to Nurmagomedov, while Ilia is undeniably dangerous, Jack combines a similar level of sharpness with a much bigger frame.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Ну, мое личное мнение. Во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Ну, для меня, если я буду, например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалины, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Мадалина.
Meanwhile, Jorge Masvidal did not hold back when sizing up Islam Makachev, pointing out that Islam is a big man who was draining himself hard to make the lightweight limit at 155. In Masvidal's eyes, Islam might find more success as he's moved up to 170. However, Masvidal also took note that Jack is special and added that if Jack could beat Islam, he would become the #1 pound for pound. Despite acknowledging JDM, Jorge stated that he is still leaning towards Islam to achieve victory.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack, #1 pound for. Wow, that's impressive. You know, I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
However, Masvidal shut down the idea that if Jack Della Maddalena could stop Belal Muhammad's takedowns, he would automatically be able to neutralize Islam Makhachev's wrestling too. He made it clear that comparison does not hold up, pointing out that Belal's grappling does not come close to the technical mastery Islam brings into the cage.
Belal has the best cardio in MMA, but Belal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique, not same. Very good, very aggressive. Belal never stops a dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Adding to the build-up, Craig Jones, who has been sharpening Jack Della Maddalena's ground game and takedown defense, fired a shot of his own by claiming he plans to do for Makachev what he did for Belal Muhammad.
UFC hates me.
You think so?
But they also hate Dagestani wrestlers, and Jack Della is fighting Islam Makachev. So it's a catch-22. They're like, fuck, we hate this guy, but we hate these wrestlers as well. So I think they want me. I helped them get rid of Belal. Like, hold on a bit longer, guys. We'll get rid of Islam Makachev for you.
Was this the first time you cornered him?
First time cornered him. I've trained with him a little bit, back and forth. I'm trying to even. I go to so many places. My memory's terrible. I brought him in. Well, I encouraged the team to bring him in, and it was obviously also beneficial for Jack at the time as well. Jack was getting ready to face Gilbert Burns, and Volks was getting ready to face Ilia Topuria.
Craig Jones doubled down on his belief in Jack Della Maddalena by revealing he has been a fan ever since Jack's days on the Contender Series. He explained that working with JDM has not been about overhauling everything, but rather fine-tuning his ground game, tightening small details, and adding key tweaks. For Jones, the most important thing was to give him a confidence boost.
This guy's not going to be able to take me down either.
Sure.
Hopefully my skills translate personally as well. But yeah, I mean, like, for me personally, when I coach an MMA fighter, like we have a short window of time to work with him, right? So like Jack Della, I've been a fan of his since his, was it the Dana White Contender Series debut? And I remember seeing him hit some specific grappling moves that blew me away. So I would say that like, as just a fan of grappling, I appreciate what he does. So when he asked me to help him, I already knew what his game sort of looked like. So it's really just adding little things in there, like, and also most importantly, giving him confidence, right? Like, I think that's what's most important. Like, I always make jokes, I'm just holding the bucket in the corner. Obviously, most of those fights, I'm just holding the bucket, being like, good work. There's so much time remaining.
Adding to that, Craig Jones pointed out how powerful it is for a fighter to get praise from someone they look up to in the sport. He believes having an idol or respected figure tell you you're on the right track can light a fire that basic drills never could. For Jones, that boost of belief is exactly what helps a fighter like Jack Della Maddalena take real initiative for the right decisions.
I think it's so important, the confidence aspect of it. So like, if you have someone that is who you perceive to be a good grappler, encouraging you, telling you you're making the right decisions, what it's going to free you up to do on the feet is throw a bit more caution to the wind. You know, if you faced a guy like Khabib and you're like, oh, if I get taken down once, the fight's over, you're not going to be able to open up, where you potentially might have a advantage. So it's really like, it's about giving proper techniques, little touch-ups, because like obviously like Volks and Jack are already so refined in what they do. You know, we're jumping in riding the coattails at the end, but it's really like just instilling that confidence so they're making the right decisions, that if they get taken down, they will get back up.
Additionally, Ali Abdelaziz shed some light on the behind-the-scenes decision-making, revealing that Islam Makachev turned down a shot at the welterweight title because of loyalty.
You know how all these guys, all of us, is out of respect. And he went there very much, said, hey, if Belal win, I want you to fight Belal, or you know, or Jack win, fight Jalal. And it's what Islam said. I said, I will not fight Belal, you know, because they have a relationship, they train together, you know. Khabib hosted it, you know, it's different.
Was Khabib there?
Khabib was not in Dagestan. He met with him a couple days later in Dubai.
In addition, Ali Abdelaziz threw his full support behind Islam Makachev, making it clear he firmly believes Islam will handle Jack Della Maddalena without question.
The way the division look right now, Islam fighting Maddalena, and I truly believe Islam is gonna beat him.
According to Ali, if Jack Della Maddalena had lost to Belal Muhammad, Islam would have been lined up to defend against Ilia Topuria instead. But once Belal came up short, Islam chose to move up and face JDM instead of taking on his friend. Abdelaziz made it clear that friendship played a big role here, as Islam simply refused to fight someone he considers family.
He went there, he met with Islam, Rizwan was there, Omar was there, and he said, I have the most unbelievable day and a half of my life. They host him, and honestly, if Belal would have won, Islam would have fought Ilia. That was the plan. He would have fought Ilia, 100%. Like a lot of people saying all this stuff, he would have fought Ilia. But you know, Belal ended up losing, and after that, like, after Belal lost, me and Hunter met in the office, and we got a deal done for Kamaru to fight Jeff Maddalena, who's become the welterweight champion, you know, after beating Belal, you know, and now, you know, the division. You want to talk about the division, or?
Furthermore, Dustin Poirier weighed in on the possibility of Ilia Topuria jumping up to 170 to chase down Islam Makachev, suggesting it is unlikely but not out of the realm of possibility. Poirier gave Topuria his due, saying he has the power, skill, and technique to shut anyone's lights out even at welterweight. Still, Dustin pointed out the big unknown. No one has seen Topuria tested against an opponent of that size and elite wrestling pedigree.
Who do you think should be next for Ilia?
Who should be next for Ilia? 55 has always been so cloudy at the top. Maybe Gaethje. I think him going to 170 to fight Islam, if Islam wins, is a stretch, you know. Islam's big, man. I've never seen Ilia in person, but he seems smaller. I know obviously he can knock anyone out. I do think if they fight, Ilia can knock anybody out from 45 to 170. He has the skills, the power, the technique, and but we've just never seen him in there with somebody that big and somebody with that caliber of wrestling. But I think he should defend the 55 title a few times before that's talked about. We'll see.
Adding to that, Demetrius Johnson did not hesitate to side with Islam Makachev in a potential clash with Ilia Topuria, laying out exactly how he thinks Islam would get it done. Johnson broke down how Islam would keep his arms active, maintain distance, use feints to set traps, and even mix in judo to drag Ilia to the mat and hunt for a submission.
Islam's a southpaw, so he's gonna probably throw body kicks to keep his arms busy, keep the distance, move, feint, maybe use some judo to take him down and try to get him to the ground and try to submit him. But, you know, once again, like I have to see, you know, I have to see what Islam does to JDM. But, you know, I know the one thing that's the factor is that Ilia is always going to focus on getting to the right spot and fighting his opponents. When he gets there, he's going to unload. If Ilia can't get there, then he's going to figure out another way to get there. So the question is, how does everybody avoid that sweet spot against Ilia?
However, Islam Makachev is not taking anything for granted. He is back in the gym, fine-tuning his techniques and drilling relentlessly to shut down Jack Della Maddalena when they finally collide.
Это как называется? Давид, молодец, ты держался, честно сказать.
Despite that, Craig Jones did not hold back about what Jack Della Maddalena is up against, admitting that a fight with Islam Makachev is about as tough as it gets. He pointed out that Islam has already gone through 2 chess matches with Alexander Volkanovski. Now he is preparing to face a guy who might have the best scrambling in all of MMA and bring some of the most unpredictable, unorthodox grappling in the game. For Jones, that is exactly what tripped up Belal Muhammad.
I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. He's like, obviously he's faced Volk twice. We'll forget about the second one, but the first one, very competitive with the grappling. And now we're talking about he's facing a guy that's some of the best scrambling ability, I think, period, in all of MMA, and some of the most unorthodox grappling. And I think that's what Belal struggled with. Belal really just sticks to a blueprint. The blueprint obviously works very well, but in terms of creativity in what Belal does, I think it's pretty strict. Jack, as you saw in that fight, some of his off balances and grip breaks and some of the things he does, it's really hard to prepare for that.
Furthermore, Chael Sonnen insisted that for Islam, it is not about chasing a big payday, rather it is about legacy. Sonnen took it a step further, saying that if Islam were to lose to Jack Della Maddalena, stepping away for good would actually be a fitting move for a fighter of his stature. In Chael's eyes, a setback like that would mark the right moment for Islam to walk away with his legacy intact, rather than drag it out chasing something that no longer fits his standard.
And that is probably the last thing. Of all the things, that is probably the last thing that motivates Islam. So, with that in mind, it is within the realm that with a loss to Jack, that he stop. It would be very enticing, though, when you want to be world champion. It really doesn't matter in the athlete's mind where you find that. I know it does in the media, but it really doesn't within the athlete.
Building on that, Chael pointed out how remarkable it is that Islam Makachev willingly gave up his lightweight crown to step up and test himself at welterweight. For Chael, that move alone speaks volumes about Islam's mindset. It takes not just raw skill, but an unshakable confidence to believe you can replicate that dominance in an entirely new division.
On one hand, Islam would be greatly motivated to get that back and does not care if he had to go down a weight class or have a more difficult task. It wouldn't be looked at like that. He would be so desperate to get that back. But, and putting myself in his shoes, I don't know that fire would be quite as strong if it's to get something back that you've already had. As a matter of fact, you had it for so long, you returned it. I just couldn't imagine. I truly could not imagine being the best in the world and willingly relinquishing. I mean, you've got to be really good. And you got to be really confident that you can do it somewhere else.
However, Kamaru Usman called out what he sees as a major blind spot in the conversation, warning that too many people are sleeping on Jack Della Maddalena. Usman made it clear that this will be no walk in the park for Islam Makachev. He pointed out that people already underestimated JDM when he was lined up against Belal Muhammad, and writing him off again would be a big mistake.
I feel like people are sleeping on JDM.
That do good, man.
And that's what I said last time. Like, we can't sleep. We can't sleep on JDM. Like when he was going up against Belal, everyone's talking about Belal.
I thought Belal was gonna take him down. Problem is, Belal didn't wrestle early enough. Belal didn't wrestle till the 3rd round.
Right. No, and by that
Jack looked
point,
so good.
By that point, he was already in his groove.
Hey, once a dude start getting his rhythm like that and moving and juking and jiving on you, it's hard to take him down.
Echoing the sentiments, Max Holloway stated that Islam will do well in the division, but added that people are sleeping on Jack. Holloway recognized and praised Jack, calling him one of the best fighters in the division right now. He stated that people should not judge so early, as it's anyone's game.
I think he'd be fine, man. I think he'd be good, you know, but people be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is gonna find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's gonna be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So I mean, he is, you know, he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason. So you gotta respect that, but. You know, don't sleep on Jack. I think it's going to be a tough and fun fight.
In addition, Daniel Cormier shared his thoughts on the matchup, stating Islam Makachev will look to shoot for a takedown right from the start. He believes that if Islam can apply pressure early, force the fight to the mat, or even just make Jack Della wrestle right away, it could create real problems for JDM.
I mean, you're giving JDM a lot of...
I'm giving him a lot of credit. I think
does he have the ability to beat a guy like Islam?
Here's where he's going to have to show some improvement. He'll get takedown attempts coming at him very early. This time. The last fight, he didn't have to deal with that when he was fresh. If Islam can start to pressure him early and take him down early, or even just make him wrestle early, he might struggle. We've seen before him get taken down, but I don't know that he's ever felt anything like he's going to feel, because it's not going to be double legs and single legs with Islam. It's going to be him playing with his feet, tripping him, moving around on the octagon side, doing things that he don't recognize as freely.
Interestingly, Dana White spoke about where the potential fight between JDM and Islam Makachev could take place, stating Madison Square Garden as the most likely venue. He added that there is always something special about putting on a big fight under the bright lights of MSG.
You know, it's always special when you go into New York and go into the Garden. So, yeah, I think a fight like that would do very well there.
Meanwhile, Javier Mendez weighed in and said that JDM will be no walk in the park and could turn out to be one of the toughest challenges Islam Makachev has faced so far. He made it clear their entire focus is locked on preparing for that threat and leaving nothing to chance.
He's the champ. He's the champ at that weight now, so he can call the shots. And let's see what the UFC allows him to do, and let's see what Islam wants. We have to still get by JDM, and that's no easy task. JDM is going to be an extremely tough fight for us. So, you know, let's focus on JDM before we can focus on something else that could be a really exciting fight down the line. But let's see what the cards play for us. Right now, it's JDM.
On the other hand, the Weasel shared his take, emphasizing how this matchup is far more intriguing for Islam Makachev than a fight with Ilia Topuria. He pointed out that facing a bigger opponent brings a whole new dynamic to the cage and makes for a clash that fans will not want to miss.
Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makachev is such a fascinating fight, and I think it's even better than the Topuria fight for Islam. It's a bigger opponent at welterweight instead of a former featherweight. Islam's also a big guy who can make welterweight, so I like this fight a lot more. Jack has really good striking skills, he has great takedown defense, an amazing ability to scramble, he has good punching power. It's such a good fight. And if he is able to defend takedowns against Bilal Muhammad, who trains with Islam, there is something interesting there about him fighting Islam himself, right? He can get past Bilal. Can he step up another level and beat the guy who pretty much ragdolls Bilal in the training room? So JDM has to fight at another level compared to his performance against Bilal Muhammad in order to defeat the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world.
Nonetheless, the Weasel pointed out how Jack, despite being the bigger fighter and the champ, is the underdog entering into the fight. The Weasel also shed light on the weight narrative, stating that potentially Jack will be the bigger fighter on fight night.
And interesting enough, the betting odds are out, and Islam Makachev is a -200 favorite, while Jack is a +170 underdog. Very interesting, as JDM is the bigger fighter, he's the welterweight champion, could defend his belt, but Islam is seemingly the best fighter in the world currently. Now, we don't know how much Islam is going to weigh in there. We know when he fought Renato Moicano, he weighed 178 pounds on fight night, and when Jack fought Pete Rodriguez, he weighed 189 pounds on fight night. I can only imagine that Islam is probably going to weigh somewhere in the low to mid 180s when he's in the octagon with Jack, which is not going to be too far off from Jack's weight. I think they're going to be close in size. They're both about the same height. They both have about the same reach. Jack might be a few pounds heavier, which just goes to show you how big Islam is, because Jack is not a big welterweight. He's just an average.
In the end, Khabib's warning hangs heavy over this looming clash. Whether Makachev conquers this new mountain or stumbles, one thing is certain. When the cage door closes, we shall find out. Let us know your predictions and opinions in the comments section. Are you as hyped for the fight as we are? Now, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video with more exciting updates.